enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. It's Rob and Sandra from My Wife the Dietitian, and this is Nutrition Nuggets.
Hello, Rob.
Hello, Sandra.
I got to say it before you did.
Yes, you did.
Yes, this could be a whole episode, but we'll pare it down. But it is an episode based on kind of the ripple effects of, well, we talked about what's for dinner, but let's talk about the how of eating too. And I'm talking about like eating together and like 5 reasons for eating together, family meals, for child development. So important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you said, all the ripple effects of that busy lifestyle and, like rushing to put your dinner together is one of the, that's what happens, but there's also other things that happen, and that's what we're going to discuss. And this is partly based on a conversation we had a friend too, who was telling us some of the issues they're having in their family around just a whole bunch of different things actually, but we had a really interesting conversation, and it made us think that, how does that relate to mealtime and just family dynamics? So
yeah, absolutely. And I feel like in this day and age, it's really becoming a lost practice in most family homes. Like people are not getting together and eating together for at least one meal in the day. And it really has a ripple effect with kids. There's long-term consequences with kids that don't eat, like don't have regular routine eating with another adult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's almost like eating together is a special thing now.
Mm-hmm.
Where like when we grew up, I mean, it was almost like dinner for sure. Like at least 6 nights of the week, unless you were at your friend's house and then you were eating with their family. But it was always a family dinner. Like there wasn't any other way to do it.
Yeah, I know. It was like dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And also another reminder to put away the devices at mealtime. So let's get into this. So there's 5 reasons, and let's talk. The first one is nutrition and health, because actually research has shown that with kids that eat regular meal times with another adult or an adult and other family members, but basically the criteria is with one other person who's an adult, they will tend to eat more vegetables and fruits and whole grains and less ultra processed foods, less of the junky foods, and they generally eat a healthier meal at the meal they're eating with someone else who's prepared a meal.
Interesting. That's a study you said?
Yeah, there's lots of research in what we're talking about.
Oh, I bet.
There's tons. And so the ripple effects of that is lower rates of childhood obesity with kids who eat regular meals with others.
Right. Well, that's important.
And the other thing with that is kids who don't tend to skip meals more often. They have irregular meal times, and they have an increased risk for eating disorders and disordered eating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I can see that.
So that's the nutrition and health aspect, but there's so many other child development aspects. And the next one is language and communication.
I can see a direct relationship because, I mean, in general, we are communicating, like talking face to face with people way less than we used to, because we have more options for communicating now. And I mean, I'm talking your devices, texting, and so we're kind of losing the skill of how to communicate, how to be polite and respectful. And that's what we were talking about with our friend. And it kind of, just got into this whole other discussion. But yeah, kids and adults even, because there's lots of adults who've grown up in this generation of, technology where we're communicating through computers and different devices. But yeah, we're losing that skill. And if we don't sort of insist on giving ourselves these opportunities to use that skill, and I mean, talking face to face to people, having a conversation, we're going to lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that's exactly what the studies have shown, that kids do have stronger literacy skills and vocabulary is improved if they're having a meal with an adult and not just in front of their device alone in the house somewhere, or just alone somewhere in the house where everybody's in their own corner eating of food.
Yeah.
You know, if you eat together, then you actually talk, and it actually increases the conversational skills and the manners of just learning how to talk to people. And it actually has ripple effects with academics. They've shown that it helps with improved school results and academics.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Long term.
Yeah. Well, I think it just builds confidence, and they feel like a more well-rounded person. And that's just going to carry into all parts of their life.
Yeah, exactly. And the third one, so the second one was language and communication. And then the third one is social and emotional development.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties in there. But there's a sense of belonging and connectedness, and kids learn their identity and who they are. We always have this saying, it's on our fridge, roots and wings, because that's what a family hopefully can provide kids, so that they grow up understanding who they are and knowing who their family is and feel connected. And then that helps with having an emotional relationship with the others, and they learn about empathy and they learn about emotional regulation. So these are all important elements to having family meals together.
Yeah. And if you think about the structure of the day too, the meal time is the one time when you're all together, ideally. You know, you kind of all go your own directions and do your own thing. You know, what you're working, you're in school, you're out playing, whatever your thing is, and that's great. I mean, we all need our independence and our, you know, following our interests or whatever, but the mealtime is when we come together at the table. And sometimes that's, you know, depending on your day, sometimes it's only once a day. You know, we're busy, or
even once a week for a lot of times. You know, it's seriously like this is a reality. I mean, with people working more than one job, and people are just, you know, in extracurricular activities like kids are. So there is this, everybody running, you know, like the tag team kind of thing. Okay, it's your time to be in the kitchen and making a meal for, you know, it's so different than the Beaver Cleaver days.
Yeah, we're definitely busier, but I think at the same time, if we prioritized mealtime instead of it saying, okay, we'll fit it in when we can, and whoever's here gets to eat, you know, it should be the other way around. And it's like, okay, dinner's at 5:00. We'll fit the other stuff in after, or do you know what I mean?
It's a priority. Yeah.
Yeah. Or making it more of a priority, or just putting a bit more effort into eating together.
Yeah. Yeah. And some families have a basket, and everybody puts their device in the basket at mealtime, because that forces people to not be looking at their phones or their iPads or whatever. And I forgot to mention earlier, but we have 2 really good episodes about this topic. Karrie Heneman in episode 69 was awesome, all about eating together. And she wrote an awesome blog on the website that's linked in the show notes. And then Amy Staheli, we talked about raising healthy families, and that was episode 111. And so cool to hear her adventures of basically her husband and her sold the home and bought a vehicle like an RV and took their kids on the road, and they're homeschooling, and they're eating 3 meals and 3 snacks every day together, all together. So it's it seems like impossible kind of thing to do. And that's not what we're suggesting, but the togetherness and eating together is so important for kids. It's important for everybody, really.
You know, it would be interesting to talk to Amy after they've sort of finished their adventure and see if she can sort of pick, you know, like the big picture things that were different and which made it work. You know, like what's different about being at home versus being on the road? Is it that you have less things taking your time, like less distractions? That's why you can eat together? Or do you know what I mean? It seems like it's just a simpler time, like when we were young, it just seems more like that. Like when you go camping, that's what it feels like. It's like, oh, we don't have all these distractions the way we do with our normal day-to-day lives.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be curious to pick her brain on that.
Yeah. And the thing with like around the table, it's not about talking about the food necessarily. It's about just connecting and talking about your day and the challenges you had. Like, what was the best part of your day? What was the worst part? And that's when things come out. Like if something's happening at school, like if they're having a challenge with a friend, or if there's bullying happening or something else is going on, hopefully, eating family meals together can help bring kids closer to their family members and feeling connected and supported in those rough times, because that's all part of the social and emotional development and how to problem solve and learning about life. And when kids are eating, it sounds like, it doesn't sound like it would be connected, but it's so connected. It's such an integral part of child development, is having that feeling of support and connectedness with your family, and for kids to understand who they are and to learn about the family rituals and customs and any routines. I know when our kids were little and they went to a friend's place, maybe one of the first times, and they came home and they were like, they do things differently, and that's like a lot of times when kids are just like starting to spread their wings when they're in, kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, around that age, and they're going for a play date or go for a family meal somewhere else. They'll come home and they might say, I didn't feel comfortable, or I didn't like it, or they do things differently.
I wonder if anyone said that about coming to our house.
Maybe. Well, we're different every family is different, right?
How come your friends aren't coming over anymore?
Yeah, you're funny.
We want to interview everyone who comes here. It's kind of funny.
Number 4 is cognitive development. So that's actually just what I described, is kind of the learning the family customs and like even just like rituals, like setting the table and serving the food and cleaning up after the meal. So that actually helps with kids learning and problem solving and learning to organize and plan and just growing up.
Well, it's life skills. And if you don't have those life skills, when you're put in a situation where you're not at home and you're expected to know these things, it can be really like almost, embarrassing. But like, I mean, you just want to crawl into your shell, and this is like, I don't know, I don't feel like I fit in. And, so it's important to teach kids this stuff and let them, have those failures, kind of like the situations where they have natural consequences and they've made mistakes, and that's how they learn. That's how people learn. So it's hard for parents to let their kids fail. And fall down, because as a parent, you want to protect your kids, of course. But at the same time, I mean, I remember when we were growing up and there's, people are watching, like other kids watch cartoons, and we weren't doing that. And then I think our parents like kind of thought, actually, it's probably good for them to just, so they are understanding socially what's going on in the culture, right? Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Number 5 is family dynamics and relationship. So that's the other reason. That's the last reason. And it's such an important one, is just feeling that connection, the bonding, the shared experiences, sense of unity, and creating the cohesion of family members in a certain family. It's really important for kids to feel like they belong and loved.
Yeah. And it's especially important nowadays. There's so many different versions of what a family is. And if you're in a situation where there's 2 families and the child sort of bounces back between them, it's the shared custody. It's really important that the child gets sort of a consistent message about so many different things in both situations, because it can feel like they just are getting mixed messages and they don't know what's right and what's wrong. And I think it's good to expose them to different things, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're not confusing them. So just pay attention to that. And it might mean talking to the other family that the child is hanging out with or living with, or whatever the case is, and just making sure you guys are kind of on the same page with some of the bigger messages that you're trying to teach.
Yeah, it's good to be on a similar page with your ex if possible, if it's a situation where the kids are living with different parents.
Exactly. I concur.
So, research shows that kids who don't eat family meals together, there is an increased risk of risky behaviors. So kids want attention, either positive or negative. So if they're not getting positive, regular attention through family meal times with their family, their parents, they might start acting out and getting negative attention because they want attention one way or another. Mm-hmm. And what happens is they have shown that it can lead to increased risky behaviors such as drug and alcohol use and abuse, teen pregnancy, skipping classes, and having poor academic success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So there's lots of different things. And I know that we're just like, oh, this is what you guys should all do. And it sounds like it's an easy thing, but we've been there. We know that it's not easy. It can be like one of the hardest times of the day when you're trying to corral everyone and everyone just wants to go to their corner and do their own thing. But, try whatever it is that works. Just try to make a bit more of an effort to have those family meals because there are so many benefits to it and so many ripple effects of not eating together. And even though it's easier just to let your kids sit on their iPad and eat dinner on their lap and you can go to your place and do your own thing, it's just it'll come back and bite you in the butt if you keep doing that. So
yeah, it's start from wherever you're at. So if this isn't a priority in the family and you just haven't been doing this, then aim for a couple times a month to have family meals together, even one adult and the child, and then work up from there. But the goal is to try to eat together more often. And this short time period in the big scheme of life, it really is fleeting.
Fleeting indeed.
I mean, when you look back, it's like, oh, I wish we had more meals together. That kind of thing, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Anyways. All right. So I'll just repeat those really quickly. 5 reasons for eating together. So nutrition and health, language and communication, social and emotional development, cognitive development, and family dynamics and relationships.
Mm-hmm. So just like we said at the beginning, just a bit of a reminder. We've definitely been over this stuff before, but we thought we'd just throw it out there again because it doesn't hurt to, like we said, have that reminder that it's so important to make an effort to just try to have those meals together more often than you already are. How about that be the goal? No one's saying 7 days a week, but unless you can, that'd be amazing. We've all done it before, so it is possible. But just try to make it a bit more of a priority, and you will reap the benefits. You can check out the blog article too that Karrie Heneman wrote. Really good article on family meals together. That'll be on the website.
Eating Together, it's called.
Eating Together. Yeah, there you go.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you can visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com. Check out the blog. You can also sign up for our weekly newsletter. We're doing that. We've been doing that for a few weeks now. Lots of good information there, some links and all sorts of different stuff. So that's a good one to sign up for free. You can also visit us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you think you have a friend that might like what we're saying and talking about on this show, be sure to share it with them. They want to hear all the good stuff too. Yeah,
we appreciate you listening. And if you find this helpful and you want to tell a friend or a coworker or colleague or a family member, that would be awesome to share it with them.
Exactly. And don't forget to rate and review the show. That sure helps too. It does help other people find the show, and it certainly helps us too. So, yeah. So that is it for this week. If you want to hear more, we will be back on Monday with another full episode. So until then, have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.